All right, so here's the first thing you do. We're going to do problem A, right? All right, we just said this. Here's x, it's by itself. What does x equal? X equals this, 25 minus 3y. So we're going to substitute this, 25 minus 3y, into x for the other equation, right? For the other equation. All right, so here we go. We're going to go do this. Here's 4 times x, okay, and x is 25 minus 3y. Okay, plus 5y equals 9. Okay, so everybody good so far? All right, now what's the next? Now, all right, so now look, we only have one variable, it's y. What would you do next to solve for y? Distribute, okay, you distribute this, right. Okay, so now you're going to go and distribute 4 times 25, 100, right? 4 times negative 3y, negative 12y, plus the 5y equals the 9. There you go. All right, let's go to the next part now. What's the next thing you do? Combine like terms is correct, okay? So 100 minus 7y is correct. Equals 9. Okay, now what's the next thing we're going to do? Subtract 100, right? Subtract 100 from both sides. Okay, so subtract 100 from 9, you get negative 91. Negative 91, very good, negative 91. Okay, now what do you do? Divide by negative 7. So what's negative 91 divided by negative 7? 13. And y equals 13 is the answer, okay? Y equals 13. Now let me ask you this. Is that the final answer to the problem? No, because you've only found the y. You're still going to find the x. You got it. Very good. You guys are doing fantastic. Okay? All right. So now it's going to be my question, but that's good. Okay? So what is it you do? You take the 13 and put it in for y. Now my question is this. Does it matter which equation you put it into? Yes. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. You can put it into the top equation. You can put it into the bottom equation, right? But there's one that's probably easier. Which one's easier to put it in for? The top one. Obviously, you would say, oh, I want to use the top equation. So here's my top equation. X equals 25 minus 3y. Now I'm going to put the 13 in place of the y. X equals 25 minus 3 times 13. Okay, now how much is 30 times 13? Negative 3 times 13. Negative 39. And how much is 25 minus 39? Negative 14 is right. So x is negative 14. Okay? So there's that. Okay, now here comes the thing. Now, so is that the answer? X equals negative 14 and y equals 13? Is that the final answer? No. All right, no, it's not. Okay, so how do you write the final answer? Now let's have a check it. You plug them back in. If you, I'm going to tell you, if you plug them both in, you find out they do equal out. But what's the other thing you have to do? How do you write the answers? You have to write it as coordinates. As a coordinate point, right? Okay, or as an ordered pair, we call it, right? Okay, so then you have to go up here and say, okay, look, the answer then is this: the coordinate point, right? Negative 14 for x and positive 13 for y, and that's what you write as the final answer. You got it. That's where the two lines would intersect if it was graphed, right? Which we're not doing graphing right now. Okay, so watch your fingers. Okay, anyway, all right, so here's the thing. All right, so here's the thing, right? You're going to first tell me what the variables represent. So you would go over here and say, let what? Let x equal the first stop, right? Makes sense? That x equal, okay, the first stop. Okay, and then let y equal the second stop. You got to designate what the variables represent. You can't just write them on the paper. Let x equal the first stop, and then y equal the second stop. Okay? All right, so now here we go. This is simple, right? Okay, one stock, first stock, costs $18.50 per share. So 18.50. Okay, no. 18.50 times the number of stocks you buy, X, and, okay, $10.40 times the number of stocks you buy, which is Y, And when you do that, you get 2,000. You got it. There's the first equation. You just wrote the first equation. Okay, now the second one's easy, right? Because what does it say? Eli bought a total of 130 shares. So how many did he buy? He bought 130 for the X and the Y shares. He bought 130. Looky there, you just wrote a system of equations right there. It's easy. And this is the basic problem you always see with systems, right? They give you all sorts of different scenarios. You buy a hamburger costs $3.50, a milkshake costs $2, and a fries costs $1.50, right? Okay, you spend $40 on hamburgers, shakes, and fries, right? So now you write an equation for that, right? Okay, and it's just write it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's case anybody can do this. This is easy stuff, right? All right, now substitution method, right? What are you going to get by itself? The X and the Y. All right, let's take a vote. How many want to get the X by itself? How many want to get the Y by itself? Okay, so we get the Y, because people chose Y. All right, would you use the top or the bottom to get it by itself? The bottom, obviously. Okay, so if you were to subtract Y from both sides, X, right? So you're going to get Y equals 130 minus X, right? So you're using this guy right here, right? Okay, and this guy up here, right? All right, so now we're going to go and substitute 130 minus X in for Y, right? Everybody good? Okay, so let's go do that. So here's 18.50X plus 10.40 times Y, and Y is 130 minus X. And that equals how much? 2,000. You got it. That equals 2,000. Okay. All right, now what's the next thing we're going to do? Distribute the 12.40, right? Okay. So we're going to get, I'm going to make this 8.50 into 8.5 just to save some space. Let's drop the 0 off, right? So 18.5x. Okay, now how much is 10.40 times 130? 1350? 1352? Okay, so plus 1352. Okay, now how much is 10.40 times negative x? Yeah, negative 10.40x. Negative 10.4x equals 2,000, right? There you go. Okay, now what's the next step? You're going to combine like terms. Okay, so how much is 18.5x minus 10.4x? 8.1x. So 8.1x plus 1352 equals 2,000, right? Okay, now what's the next step you're going to do? Subtract 1352. Okay, all right, so then we got 8.1x equals, now what's that going to equal? One more time. 648, okay, so 648. Okay, and now what are you going to divide by? 8.1, so what's 648 divided by 8.1? And you get 80, okay, so it's 80 shares you're going to buy, right? 80 shares of that stock. Okay, now, is that the final answer? No. Okay, so now you're going to go find out what is the value of the Y stock. Let me ask you this. Would you use the top equation or the bottom equation? The bottom is a little bit, don't use it. You can use the top if you want to, but man, it's a lot more difficult to use the bottom. So look, you're going to put 80 in for the X, right? So 80 plus what equals 130? No, it's like I only have to show any work on that one. It's Y equals 50 shares, right? Okay, so now what you're going to do, now is that the final answer? No, the answer is yeah, that's the final answer, except you're going to write a little statement, right? So you would write down this, okay? Eli, okay, bought, right? Okay, 80 shares, okay, of the first stock, right? And 50 shares of the second stock is what you write out. And the reason we don't put it in an ordered pair is because this is an actual word problem. Word problems we take out and put words onto it, right? We don't leave it as a coordinate point. Alright, so A is already opposites, right? So all you got to do, this is an opposite of this. All you got to do now is just add them together. Just add them together like this. All right, so tell me this. How much is negative 2x plus negative 5x? Negative 7x. There's that. How much is negative 3y plus 3y?
Nothing.
They're nothing. They eliminate each other. They go away. How much is 5 plus negative 40?
Negative 39.
Negative 35. Oh my gosh, that was so simple, Swanee. So look, negative 7x equals negative 35. Divide both sides by negative 7. How much does x equal? That is so simple. You see how easy that is? X equals 5. The opposites are already created. X equals 5. Okay? All right, now that's not the answer yet, right? We still got to find the y. So now you're going to take the 5 and substitute it back into either the top equation or the bottom equation. Which one would you want to do? The top looks a little easier. I agree with you. So here's the top equation. Negative 2x minus 3y equals 5. Let's put 5 in for this x right here, right? Here we go. 5 goes in for the x. Negative 2 times 5? Negative 10, right? Okay, now what do you do from here? Got to solve for y. Add 10 to both sides, right? Add 10 to both sides, so we get 15, right? Now what do? Divide by negative 3. So how much is 15 divided by negative 3? Negative 5. There you go. All right, so now what's the answer we're going to put down? 5 comma negative 5. Remember, it's a coordinate point. Unless it's a word problem, you put down a coordinate point. So you're going to put down 5, negative 5. What's that?
I don't get what the difference is between elimination.
What? All right, the difference is that you're not actually substituting something in place of something else. Now you're just getting rid of the variables from the get-go, right? Okay, as opposed to converting them into one single variable, okay? So most people, the opinion is they like this more than they like the substitution method. We're going to teach you all these methods because we use them at different times, okay? All right, so, okay, so to get rid of the y, we multiply the bottom one by positive 3. Now this is what I always like to do. I like to draw this double arrow over here, right? And then we say, okay, look, the top is this. Well, I don't do anything to the top one. And the bottom one now becomes what? 3 times x? 3x. Okay. 3 times negative 2? Negative 6. Why? Oh, look, opposites. Real. Okay. 3 times 10? 30. There are the opposites there now. Ooh la la. Okay, what's the next step? You have to. What's the next step? Now you add them together, right? Now you always add them together. So now I'm going to go in, add together. Okay, so how many x's will I get? 8 x's. How many y's will I get? None. They're eliminated. What's my numbers going to equal? 16. Okay, now what do? Divide by 8, and x equals how much? And x is 2. There's one answer right there. Now, is that the answer? No. What do you do now? Okay, find y. Substitute it and find y. Now, how many choices do you have? You got 4. You got 4. You got 4. Well, actually, you got 3. Technically, you got 3. Okay, you got this one or this one. They're the same. Or number 2 or number 3. So look, here we go. We got A, B, and C. A, B, and C. Now, you guys, how many would use A to substitute it? How many use B to substitute it? Okay, about 8, 10, 10, 12, 14. Okay, how many have C to substitute in? Okay, so we're doing B. B is the majority. All right, so here's B. B. Okay, put 2 in for this X. Subtract 2 from both sides. Divide by negative 2. You get negative 4. Okay, now what's the final answer? 2 comma negative 4. You got it. Very good. You're correct. There's your answer. So we're now. Okay, and then in turn you solve all that. Now I'll tell you the answers here real quick. Okay, because we just don't have time to do all this. The bill's going to run. Okay?
Negative 2 or 7?
It's a negative 2. It's just got barely fit in there. Okay. All right. The answers come out to be this: that the group lessons cost $5 a piece, and the private are $25 a piece. Is what it comes out to be as the final answer. Okay. So you see, guys, see what the homework is now? The homework is Page 35,